in just a couple of minutes with our presentation of Turning Knowledge into Action, the Think Before You Pink Toolkit. Hello, and welcome to Breast Cancer Action's webinar, Turning Knowledge into Action, the Think Before You Pink Toolkit. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Saru Kaiser, and I'm the Program Associate of Education and Mobilization at Breast Cancer Action. Joining me on the webinar today will be Kim Irish, Program Manager at Breast Cancer Action, and Robyn Stoetzel, Breast Cancer Action member and Think Before You Pink activist. Before we begin, I have a few quick announcements. I want you to please stay tuned for our next webinar, which will be held next month, and will focus on inequities in breast cancer, how health is more than just health care. Look for details on our website at www.bcaction.org. BCAction doesn't take money from any corporation that profits from or contributes to the breast cancer epidemic. Our work is largely supported by individual donors. Please consider making a $25 donation today to support work like these educational webinars. I want to go over a few rules of webinar etiquette with you before we start the presentation. The presentation of Turning Knowledge into Action, the Think Before You Pink Toolkit, will last about 45 minutes, and we'll leave time at the end for questions. Everyone except the speakers will be muted during the webinar to cut down on background noise and to ensure that we can all hear well. To ask a question, you can type it at any time during the webinar in a pop-up box that should appear on your screen. We'll be keeping track of the questions, and we'll do our best to answer as many as we can. But given the number of attendees, we may not be able to get to yours. If we don't get to your question, you can email us afterwards at info@bcaction.org. If you experience any sound quality issues during the webinar, try hanging up and calling back in. Usually that'll fix the problem. You can also call webinar customer support at 800-263-6317. Or if you have trouble with the visual part of the presentation, try closing open windows on your computer and just run the presentation. We want you to get involved with Breast Cancer Action. This webinar is a great way to do that. Please stay tuned for other ways we'll mention later on. Now let's go over the agenda for our webinar. I'm going to start with a short explanation about who Breast Cancer Action is and our perspective on breast cancer. Then we'll dive right into the toolkit and discuss the exciting resources for activists. Robyn will talk about how she as an activist has used the toolkit and how she continues to use it. Kim will come on to introduce the Pledge to Prevent Pinkwashing, why it is important now, and how to use it. Last, we'll end with steps for action to change the conversation about breast cancer. And if you haven't already done so, you'll be able to download your very own copy of the toolkit. Breast Cancer Action was founded in 1990 by a group of women who were frustrated with the lack of information about breast cancer. Our founders, only one of whom is still alive today, knew that their private medical crises were part of a larger public health emergency. and that the experiences of those dealing with breast cancer needed to be heard to address the crisis. BCAction's mission is to carry the voices of people affected by breast cancer to inspire and compel the changes necessary to end the epidemic. Our advocacy is conducted through a social justice lens because the politics and policies of breast cancer disproportionately affect poor women and women of color. BCAction's independence from pharmaceutical company funding puts us in a unique position to address issues of health equity and exposures to toxins in our environment, and to put the needs of patients before pharmaceutical company profits. We have three main program priorities. First, putting patients first, where we advocate at the Food and Drug Administration in favor of treatments that are less toxic, more effective, and less expensive than those already available. We also provide information about breast cancer to anyone who needs it. Second, creating healthy environments, where we work to reduce the involuntary exposures people encounter that put them at risk for breast cancer by holding corporations accountable for unhealthy products and practices. We also support legislation that would better protect us from chemicals in our environment and would make personal care products safer. The last, eliminating social inequities related to breast cancer, where we work to create awareness that it is not just genes, but social injustices, political, economic, and racial inequalities that lead to disparities in breast cancer incidence and outcome. Again, my name is Saru, and I'm the Program Associate of Education and Mobilization. I work educating the public on issues of health inequities related to breast cancer and mobilizing Breast Cancer Action's national partners on inequity issues. Also joining us is Kim Irish. She's the Program Manager for Breast Cancer Action. She oversees Breast Cancer Action's Think Before You Pink and Milking Cancer campaigns, along with local, state, and federal advocacy efforts to put patients first, create healthy environments, and eliminate social inequities related to breast cancer. Also joining us is Robyn Stoetzel. Robyn received her Bachelor of Science in Nursing in 1995 and has worked the majority of her nursing career as an oncology nurse. She is also a former legal nurse consultant and risk manager for Rush University Medical Center in Chicago. Over her many years working in the trenches of what she calls the sickness industry, she came to realize that very little, if anything, was being done to determine the true cause of cancer, or more importantly, preventing the devastating disease in the first place. She has since dedicated her life to finding and demanding those answers. Robyn has furthered her career as a holistic healthcare consultant and has advanced training in the areas of nutrition and detoxification. She is a Breast Cancer Action member and a Think Before You Pink activist in her community and educates people on what it means to be truly healthy. I want to frame our discussion today with an overview of Breast Cancer Action's perspective on breast cancer. First, the breast cancer epidemic is a public health crisis and a social justice issue. By focusing on the individual, we miss the larger context of the social, economic, and historical reality in which many people live their lives. The choices that people make are shaped by the choices that are available to them. Also, we are concerned that an emphasis on personal behavior leads some women to blame themselves for getting sick. At BCAction, we focus on providing information on exposures that are outside a woman's individual control and can contribute to her risk. It doesn't serve anyone to blame and shame women for getting breast cancer. In order to accomplish our mission, we recognize that structural changes in society are needed. We advocate for systemic change that will end the breast cancer epidemic, while still supporting women and men at risk for and living with breast cancer. Far too often, political, corporate agendas trump what's best for women's health. We see it in pink ribbon marketing, toxic chemical deregulation, and human gene patenting. Women's health finds itself in the middle of a political game, with both Komen and its very politically driven decision to defund Planned Parenthood and the Republican stand on denying women's access to contraception coverage in their insurance policies. Women's health continues to be a political issue where political and corporate interests come before women's health. Questions we need to be asking. Why, in the richest country on earth, do we have to fight tooth and nail to get women the basic health care they need? Why are there such huge race and class inequities in breast cancer incidence and outcomes? Why are breast cancer treatments still horribly toxic, impossibly expensive, and ultimately fail too many women? What would feminist healthcare look like if we start with women's experiences and concerns? Women should be in control of their medical decisions and choices without regard to politics, corporate interest, or the agendas of others. Organizations that are truly committed to women's health must put women's health before politics. And what will change the course of the epidemic is the overwhelming activism we saw this last month from women's health activists around the country demanding that we put women's health first. Now that you have an understanding about breast cancer action, our perspective on breast cancer, and the politics of women's health, let's talk about our newest advocate tool, the Think Before You Pink Toolkit, which puts the power of change in your hands. The toolkit is really an activist handbook that provides information and useful tools for advocates to change the conversation about breast cancer. We'll talk about the toolkit in the following sections: learn, share, and act. There's plenty of information in the toolkit on the history of the pink ribbon. There's more about the politics of breast cancer and the history of the Think Before You Pink campaign. I'm going to talk specifically about corporate use of the pink ribbon and pinkwashing. Any company can use a pink ribbon on its product to indicate its support for breast cancer awareness. Unfortunately, there are some potential problems with this. No one is responsible for checking on how much money is donated. No one is responsible for checking on which organization, checking on whether a product has harmful chemicals in it that elevate risk of breast cancer or other health problems. We find that pink ribbon campaigns benefit corporations more than they benefit breast cancer patients, and raising money has become the priority regardless of the consequences. How much does the corporation benefit? How much money do they make by using pink ribbons to sell their image and their products? Here's an example. Yoplait yogurt of General Mills, the #1 yogurt in America, which accounts for $1.1 billion of General Mills' $11.2 billion in sales. In 1998, Yoplait teamed with Komen in the Save the Lids to Save Lives campaign. Every October, Yoplait manufactures yogurts with pink lids. Consumers send them into a collection center during a specific time period. Yoplait then makes a donation of 10 cents per lid, guaranteeing a minimum donation of $500,000 and a cap of $1.5 million. In 2008, Yoplait received over 15 million pink lids, hitting its 1.5 million cap for the first time. 15 million yogurts less the 10 cents per lid donation yields 5.9 million in yogurt sales. That fiscal year, General Mills reported a 14% sales jump for its Yoplait division. We see that one part of the cause marketing equation works. So corporations are selling more products and improving their image through the use of pink ribbons. But what if they produce products that harm women's health? Breast Cancer Action coined the term pinkwasher in 2002. It's defined as a company that claims to care about breast cancer by promoting a pink ribbon product, but at the same time produces, manufactures, and/or sells products that are linked to the disease. Today, the term pinkwasher is used widely among the breast cancer organizations, the media, and activists. How can you tell if a company really cares about ending the breast cancer epidemic, or if they're merely using breast cancer as a marketing scheme to sell more products? The following critical questions for conscious consumers can help you look beyond the pink ribbon and be a part of ending the breast cancer epidemic. Kim is now going to talk about the critical questions and about breast cancer walks and runs.
Thank you, Saru. People want to do something to end the breast cancer epidemic. We have good intentions and we want to make a difference. But the question is how? What can you do as an individual? We're asked all the time how people can best take action on their own and what they can do that is an alternative to the pink ribbon culture. We think it's really important to educate yourself so that you're an informed consumer, so that companies are not exploiting your good intentions, and that we're all demanding transparency and accountability from companies that are engaged in pink ribbon marketing. Any company can put a pink ribbon on its products. As we mentioned earlier, pink ribbons aren't regulated by any agency. And just because there's a pink ribbon on a product does not necessarily guarantee that money from that product sale is being donated to a breast cancer organization or program. So the first of Breast Cancer Action's critical questions is, does any money from this purchase go to support breast cancer programs? How much? If you can't tell how much money from your purchase will go to support breast cancer programs, consider donating to a charity of your choice instead. An example of this question in action. In 2010, Dansko Shoe Company sold pink ribbon clogs. Consumers most likely thought that a portion of their purchase went to a breast cancer program. However, purchase of the clogs was not connected to Dansko's donation. None of the portion of the sales went toward their already set donation of $25,000 to Susan G. Komen for the cure. No matter whether or not you bought the clogs, their donation was the same. Some companies that sell pink ribbon products and donate a percentage of each sale to breast cancer programs don't indicate which breast cancer organization will get the money. The consumer is really left on their own to trust that the organizations are putting the funds to good use. If money goes to services, are they reaching the people who need them most? How do programs that do screening ensure that women who are diagnosed get the treatment that they need? And how do breast cancer awareness programs address the fact that we already know breast cancer is a problem and that we need action in order to end the epidemic? These important considerations should be in your mind when you ask the second critical question when you encounter pink ribbon products. What organization will get the money? What will they do with the funds? And how do these programs turn the tide of the breast cancer epidemic? An example of this critical question in action. The Kisses for a Cure music box that's pictured on your screen is advertised online by the maker, the Bradford Exchange, with the following statement. A portion of the proceeds from this music box will be donated to help fight breast cancer. It is not clear what breast cancer organization would benefit, how much money they would receive, and what programs or work would be funded by the donation. Next, some companies say that they'll donate a portion of the proceeds from the sale of a particular pink ribbon item and put an arbitrary cap on the maximum donation. Once the maximum is met, the company may continue to sell the pink ribbon product without alerting customers that no additional funds will be donated to breast cancer organizations. This means you could purchase a product intending that some of your purchase cost is donated to a breast cancer organization or program, but in fact none of it would be. The third critical question you should ask when you see a pink ribbon product is there a cap on the amount the company will donate? Has this maximum donation already been met? Can I tell? An example of this question in action, in 2010, Reebok marketed a line of pink ribbon footwear and apparel at prices that ranged from $50 to $100. Though it promoted the fact that some of the pink ribbon product sales would be donated to the Avon Breast Cancer Crusade, they set a limit of $750,000, regardless of how many items were sold, and there was no way to alert customers once that maximum donation was met. Some companies sell pink ribbon products that are linked to increased risk of breast cancer because they contain unhealthy ingredients. Breast Cancer Action believes that companies that benefit by building a reputation based on the concern about breast cancer have a responsibility to protect consumers from possible harm. The final critical question that conscious consumers should ask when they encounter a pink ribbon product is, does this purchase put you or someone you love at risk for exposure to toxins linked to breast cancer? What is the company doing to ensure that its products are not contributing to the breast cancer epidemic? If you still have doubts about a product, write a letter to the company, ask the company to sign the pledge to prevent pinkwashing, which we will talk about in just a few minutes, and consider giving your money directly to a breast cancer organization whose work you believe is working to end the breast cancer epidemic. I'm guessing everyone on this webinar is familiar with breast cancer walks and runs. Maybe you've been asked to support a friend or family member participating in an event, or perhaps you've even been a participant yourself. Breast Cancer Action recognizes the personal commitment and passion of people who want to get involved with these events, but we also have some concerns about them. The first concern is inefficiency. The walks and runs are very inefficient ways to raise money. Because of the tremendous overhead expenses, 50% of every dollar raised is needed to pay for the event itself. Our second concern is transparency. Few of these events clearly explain what the money that's raised is being used for. Awareness is often the main aim, while funding to understand the root causes of the disease are ignored. Our next concern is pinking and pinkwashing at the events. Over the years, more and more physical-based events vie for space on the public calendar, making them even more oriented to fun and consumerism. Corporate sponsors tend to be those that are making money from the diagnosis and treatment of breast cancer and/or those profiting through cause marketing. Some are even pinkwashers. And then finally, detraction from the issue. There is also concern that the festivities surrounding these kinds of walks and runs and other events detract from deeper issues. Some diagnosed people feel marginalized and that the events trivialize the disease. If you've ever wondered how to talk about these or other concerns you may have with breast cancer walks and runs with your friends or family members, the Toolkit can help. It provides a sample letter you can customize to explain to friends and family why you have concerns sponsoring them for a breast cancer walk and run and what you might want to do instead. Next, I want to introduce a Breast Cancer Action member and Toolkit user extraordinaire, Robyn Stoetzel, who will lead us through a great example of how she's used the Toolkit. Robyn?
Thank you so much, you guys, for having me today. I just wanted to take a minute to share with you and other members what I've used with this remarkable toolkit that Breast Cancer Action has put together. It's been literally, you know, a godsend for me, and how truly I've been able to impact my community and our world, my world, really. I was approached by a network of chiropractors last year called Maximize Living, and I was asked to create a webinar titled Think Before You Pink, just because they know my history as an oncology nurse and how I'm very proactive and towards prevention. So I did this along with Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, and there was, Maximize Living is a network of chiropractors and chiropractic students. There's over 800 of them worldwide, and what we did is we did a live webinar. I created the Think Before You Pink webinar based on the toolkit. And of course, you know, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny had her own slides in there as well. But what they did is we shared this with we had over 400 people live on our webinar, and it was even shown in a clinic in Zimbabwe. So it was pretty cool, the big impact we got this information out over you know, the country. And the webinar now is archived on my website, and it's www.stoetzelchiro.com. I'm not sure if you have, if they're having a little bit of difficulties pulling up this information, but I'm not seeing it on my screen. Okay, this is the other key points. Okay, gotcha. But in our office, we held monthly advanced health talks, and what the slide is saying here is, you know, going back a little bit, is that literally this toolkit, when I started researching, it saved me countless and countless of hours of research for facts. As a former legal nurse consultant, I am very much aware of the need for credible research facts, and they put it all together so easily. The other key point that I saw in the toolkit that I mean, I'll admit I didn't even know of the history of the pink ribbon, and how empowering that information was for me to share with other not only women but everybody to truly understand why this was created in the first place. So I thought that was a really cool way to go about this in the toolkit. A slide up at each question and made that as my PowerPoint, and doing a live talk in the office as well. The types of questions and communication that creates was amazing. Some questions that you would never even think of. The Think Before You Pink quiz that they have in the toolkit. In our health talks that we hold monthly, I'm continually plugging whatever campaign is going on for Breast Cancer Action and what they've done in the past. And before we start off any of our talks, I'll hand out this Think Before You Pink quiz to just start the questions, start people thinking of you know, these typical questions that one might have. And I thought that was an amazing handout there as well. So again, we created this for over the network of chiropractors that I just talked about. There's my website there, StoetzelChiro.com. You can go and watch the archived webinar. It's now archived. Like I said, there's over 800 clients in this network of chiropractors, and now it's archived on every one of their websites as well. So continually we can share that information with our patients, and you can go there and watch that webinar. And mimic it, you know, do what I did. Again, the information on how we hold our monthly advanced talks, breast health talks, heart health talks at skincare, shopping smart. We hold these every single month, and I'm continually plugging this information in there because, you know, let's be honest, breast cancer doesn't just happen in October. We need a continual talk and conversation throughout the year. So that's what we do for our monthly advanced talks. And then our patient appreciation days that we have every month, we have, to honor our patients, I'll have a breast cancer action info booth just set up. Again, just to continually raise questions and to show our community how they can get involved with changing the conversation. And that's been hugely impactful. We have our Think Before You pink cards at the front desk. We're continually approached by our patients to donate to their cause, and we will if we lines up with what we truly believe this needs to go towards. So we'll have those Think Before You pink cards cut out and set up at the front desk, and you know, just to start that conversation. They're available to anybody just to get people thinking. So when I was asked to do this webinar, I am so honored to be able to share with you other tips that you can do, because it's really about educating your community. I want to encourage you to contact your local Maximize Living doctor. You can find them. They would welcome anybody that wants to share this information in their office. I can guarantee you that, MaximizeLiving.com. But you can really, you know, I encourage you to go contact any of your local natural care providers that are willing and already looking for this information to share with their patients. Offer to host an event for them, and if not, say, hey, here's the information. I'll come set it up. You do the talk. The many natural care providers are already doing talks in their offices. Set up health talks at the local libraries. We've gotten a huge response from this. It's been pretty amazing. And then another thing you can do is, when we have our Maximize Living makeovers every year, we invite other vendors to participate that are in line with what our goal is. Example, non-toxic cleaning products, non-toxic beauty products, healthy foods, clean water filtration systems. Invite other vendors. You can literally make an entire 3-day or 3-hour event over building this PowerPoint. There's so much information that you can really build it whatever needs you want. So I encourage you to really get out there and to get into your communities. The way that I started, I certainly was not a public speaker by any means, which many of you online may not be comfortable with that. I encourage you to just get into the toolkit and just read it and know the language and speak with confidence. Know those facts. It becomes pretty simple and pretty easy when you become so compassionate about what you're doing that it becomes so much easier when you have that mission in mind to be able to get in front of anybody and speak the truth. So I just really encourage you guys to do that. And if there's any way I can certainly help anybody, I live in the Chicago area. If there's anything I can do for anybody, please contact me. I think they're going to have my information at the end, but my mission is here to educate and to empower people to really make change. So whatever I can do to help, I appreciate that.
Great. Thanks so much, Robyn. This is Kim again, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about some other ideas from activists that we've gathered for you all. So the first idea that has been presented to us is hosting a benefit for someone with breast cancer or a breast cancer survivor. Provide toolkits, fact sheets, critical questions, and videos at the event. You can also work on educating your colleagues. You can advertise to your networks through websites, Facebook, and Twitter. You can place the information discreetly around your house to start discussions with friends and family. And you can incorporate the toolkit materials into artist creations. So I want to read a couple of quotes that we've gotten from other members who have used the toolkit with some success. I had very positive responses from friends and family who I was able to discuss and inform about breast cancer action. In fact, many of them were shocked and offended that something they trusted without question could be secretive and/or deceitful. It turned out that most of them supported the pink ribbon every chance they got. I now know that they think before they pink. One member collaborated on an art installation that explores women's health issues called The Waiting Room, Lost and Found. Toolkits were made available to the hundreds of people who viewed the exhibition, and you can see the exhibition in the photograph that's on the screen. Here's a quote from the artist. The pinking section, which is heavily informed by the toolkit and the Think Before You Pink fact sheets, is startling people and provoking them to reconsider what the pink ribbon means when they see it on an item. Next, we'll be talking about how you can make actions speak louder than pink. The Pledge to Prevent Pinkwashing is an agreement that you can send to companies that sell pink ribbon products in the name of breast cancer fundraising and ask that they agree to end pinkwashing, to increase the transparency of pink ribbon promotions, and to be accountable that the products they produce do not put women at risk for developing breast cancer. As you all know, pink ribbon products are now produced year-round, not just in October. Now is when companies are thinking about their October campaigns, so this is the perfect time to reach out to both pinkwashing companies and companies that put public health first. The pledge states that companies will ensure that our products are free of carcinogens, endocrine disruptors, and all other toxins, not sell products that are suspected of causing an increased risk of breast cancer, and not engage in pinkwashing. In the toolkit, you will also find sample letters that you can use when contacting companies. One is geared toward pinkwashing companies, while the other letter can be sent to companies with more health protective policies. The first company to sign the pledge was Suki Incorporated. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Suki now. Suki is a natural cosmetic company that is committed to ingredient integrity, and it never uses synthetics or ingredients that are processed with petrochemicals. Suki's founder is very concerned about the breast cancer epidemic and is committed to educating people about pinkwashing and environmental toxins. Suki was the first company, as I said, to sign our Breast Cancer Action's pledge to prevent pinkwashing. By signing the pledge, Suki makes a statement that they will follow the precautionary principle by acting now to prevent harms related to breast cancer and to take all necessary action to ensure that their products do not put people at risk of breast cancer. We applaud Suki for being a leader in the cosmetic industry and continuing to use natural ingredients in products that we can be confident are not suspected of contributing to our risk of developing breast cancer.
All right, thank you so much, Kim. I wanted to talk about a few other tools that are part of the toolkit as well. In the toolkit, you'll find a sample letter that you can use to base your own letter to the editor of a local newspaper to bring attention to specific companies that may be pinkwashing. There are also examples on how to use social media to educate your friends and your community about pink ribbon marketing and how to move beyond breast cancer awareness. Also, Breast Cancer Action is developing Think Before You Pink house party kits with information and tools to help you launch your own Think Before You Pink campaign. Another tool, very recent, is gathering friends to view the newest documentary, Pink Ribbons, Inc. Based on Samantha King's book of the same name, Pink Ribbons, Inc. explores the history of breast cancer, corporate fundraising, and the presentation of breast cancer campaigns in the media. The film focuses on the increased involvement of corporations in fundraising campaigns, which goes as far as outright ownership in some cases, and the impact it's had on breast cancer culture and media messages about women with breast cancer. On the screen are some upcoming film festival screenings, and if anyone would like me to email this, you can contact me, and I can email you this information. Also, if you are unable to get to a film festival, the anticipated release of the DVD will be sometime this fall. Last, regulatory reform is an important activist tool to stop cancer before it starts. Send a message to your elected officials letting them know that you support systemic change to ensure that companies can't put harmful chemicals in their products. Tell them to support and endorse the Safe Cosmetics Act of 2011 safety of industrial chemicals. So the power we have as consumers and activists is amazing and inspiring, and we can make change by demanding it. Although the cosmetic industry vigorously opposed the bill and spent heavily to have it shut down, the Safe Cosmetics Act, sponsored by Breast Cancer Action and the Breast Cancer Fund and the National Environmental Trust, became the nation's first state law on chemicals in cosmetics. The bill requires cosmetic manufacturers to disclose to the state any product ingredients that are on the state and federal list of chemicals that cause cancer or birth defects. In response to the Yo Play Put a Lid on It campaign, where Breast Cancer Action members sent thousands of letters to General Mills to demand they remove RBGH from their dairy products, General Mills agreed to use only RBGH-free dairy for their Yo Play yogurt. Soon after, Dannon followed suit. Now General Mills and Dannon, who make 2/3 of America's yogurt, manufacture RBGH-free products. As of September 2010, 67 of the top 100 dairies in the U.S. are now completely or partially RBGH-free. Other companies also took a stand on hormone-free dairy products, with Starbucks and Chipotle restaurants going 100% RBGH-free, and Walmart now offering its own brand of RBGH-free milk. As many of you may know, last October, Breast Cancer Action launched a letter-writing campaign to Susan G. Komen for the Cure to demand they recall Promise Me perfume because it contained chemicals not listed on the label that are regulated as toxic and hazardous, and also to adopt the highest precautionary standards to protect women's health by signing the pledge to prevent pinkwashing. 5,000 people sent letters to Komen's leadership urging them to recall Promise Me and sign the pledge. Komen heard our voices and issued a public statement in response to the questions raised about the ingredients in Promise Me and promised to reformulate the perfume. Last, Breast Cancer Action, along with hundreds of thousands of women's health advocates, joined together and took action to respond to Komen's decision to defund Planned Parenthood. We insisted that women's health come before politics or corporate interests, and change happened because we demanded it. We'll be opening it up to your questions in a few minutes, but before we do, I want to talk a little bit more about how you can get involved. Become a member of Breast Cancer Action. Sign up for news and action alert emails to keep up to date on the issues. Join us on Facebook and Twitter to connect with others and help change the conversation about the breast cancer epidemic. You can also help others get involved. Tell your friends, coworkers, and family about this webinar and how they can take action. Last, you can donate to support our education and advocacy work. I want to review a few of the links we've highlighted during the webinar. These links will also be included in a follow-up email you will receive in a few days, so please don't worry if you're not able to capture all the information right now. To download a toolkit, if you haven't already done so, you can go to www.bcaction.org/toolkit. If you'd like more information about Think Before You Pink and our campaigns, you can contact Kim Irish at KIRISH@bcaction.org. You can also watch a 2-minute trailer of the Pink Ribbons, Inc. movie at our website, and the link is on the screen. And again, I will be including that in the follow-up email that I send. And also, if you would like to contact Robyn, her email is robynSteetz@yahoo.com. Again, I want to remind you that Breast Cancer Action relies on your support to make these webinars possible. Your individual support of our work is crucial. If you've been inspired today, please consider making a donation of $25 or more so we can continue these webinars. Go to bcaction.org/donate. I want to give a big thank you to Kim and Robyn for joining me today and for their wonderful presentations. And now I'm going to open it up to any questions you may have on the topic. So there have been questions that have been People have been writing in as we've been going through the presentation, so we're going to start with those, and please feel free to continue writing questions, and we will try and capture and answer as many as we can. So let's see. Someone says, what companies would you recommend against donating to? You know, I think that Breast Cancer Action doesn't sort of endorse or tell you specific companies that you shouldn't donate to, because I think companies, if approached, are willing to work on making change. So I think a really important part is, if you are unsure about a company on whether you want to support them, you can always contact them if you have a question about a specific product. You can also contact them and have them ask them to sign the pledge to prevent pinkwashing, and then you can know that they're really doing all they can to produce products that aren't going to harm people or increase women's risk of getting breast cancer. Let's see. Some of these questions I may pass to others. How can we find a way to forge a relationship with the NCCN member hospital, which I'm not sure what NCCN is. It says hospital gift shops are filled with pink crap. Money would be better donated directly to the hospital. I'm going to pass that to Kim and see if she wants to say something.
That's a great question. I think that what you can do there is, you could always speak to the hospital gift shop staff and let them know about your concerns, that this, there probably are going to be breast cancer patients in the hospital, that many people in the hospital may not appreciate all the pink ribbon stuff that you see in the gift shops, and that there could be better ways of supporting breast cancer. And as you say, money often is going to be better donated directly to an organization where the money will be, used, all of the money will be used for that organization's purpose, or perhaps the hospital itself.
Thank you, Kim. There's a question. Have you mailed your toolkit to all members of Congress and state legislators? That's a really great question. We have not. We have just started sort of our dissemination of the toolkit, and that's a really wonderful, wonderful suggestion. Thank you. There was also a question, is anyone representing Breast Cancer Action at the Huntington screening of Breast Cancer, Inc.? Pink Ribbons, Inc., I'm sorry. I am attending and still see speakers to be announced. We're in the process of contacting all the film festivals and trying to get speakers if they're interested in having someone from Breast Cancer Action come and be a speaker, and also getting information about the toolkit for those people who are attending. So we're definitely in talk with many of the film festivals. Let's see. Have there been any national advocacy efforts to get Avon to make products safer? There have been some, and I'm going to let Kim talk a little bit about that.
Yes, there have been. Over the past few years, there have been some efforts, and I know that there was one to 2 years ago where there were some concerns about some ingredients in certain Avon products. And the concern, of course, is that Avon has this foundation, which is separate from their cosmetics company, but that they have this foundation that raises all this money for breast cancer. And the concern, of course, is that the same name is on the cosmetic company that manufactures products that don't always contain the safest ingredients. So there have been efforts in the past by the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics, one of our partners, and Breast Cancer Action and the Breast Cancer Fund and a number of other organizations have kind of banded together to ask Avon to make their products safer.
Thank you so much, Kim. There have been a few questions about specifically the webinar and if people could get a copy of it. And all of our webinars are available to watch after they've been recorded. Our past webinars are up on our website now. and this website will be available about a week after both webinars air, both today and tomorrow. So you can check our website at BCAction.org and go to resources on the right-hand side, and you'll see a webinar tab. And you can go there, and all of our past webinars are there. We're going to take a few more questions. Let's see. There's a lot of really great questions, so I want to make sure to capture the ones we can. Someone just asked if the webinars are also available for Mac users, and the recordings that are available on our website can be viewed both PC and Mac. I'm going to continue looking at the questions, make sure we can get to all of them that we can. Let's see. So someone said that when Kim was talking about the critical questions and the first question, determining where the money from your purchase goes and what breast cancer programs is actually being supported, it's really great to go straight from the company to find out that information as a consumer. If they have it on their product that some money, a portion of the money from the product goes to breast cancer research, awareness, they should be able to tell you exactly where it's going. And if they can't, then you can always have a conversation with the person you're speaking to. You can also send them the pledge to prevent pinkwashing as well. That's a great question. There's a question, I'm not sure if I'll know the answer, but definitely a good one to raise. Someone says, how can we deal with social pressure in the workplace to join our fellow employees in support of pink ribbon causes, such as when an HR department decides that our company is going to participate in a Wear Jeans to Work Day in which employees can wear jeans to work and in return to making a donation to Komen for the Cure? Or your supervisor decides that your department is going to sponsor a Race for the Cure runner. How do you conscientiously object to these feel-good company events without standing out as a killjoy, spoil sport, negative person on the job, which can actually affect your continued employment if it has an impact on how your supervisor or HR department perceives you? That's a really wonderful question. I mean, I think it goes beyond having friends and family ask you to support them, because that can be much more of a personal conversation. But when it's tied to your work, the morale at your work, I think that can be really tough. I think it's important to to have the conversation with a supervisor or with other employees about how you feel. I think there's a lot of really great kind of facts from the toolkit that you can use, so that it's not just you being a killjoy, but there's some real information. I think you can also maybe suggest other ways that people, if they want to feel like they're donating to ending the breast cancer epidemic, to offer other organizations and maybe other causes or other ways to get involved. So that's a really great question. Thank you. Let's see. So one thing that we have, and this is actually a very new development, is a discussion corner, a Think Before You Pink discussion corner that is up on the Think Before You Pink website and also on Facebook. It's a great place to be able to talk about how you're using the toolkit, questions that are coming up as you're using it, and just to connect with other people and get support, maybe for some of the questions that people are asking around, how do you address coworkers or a supervisor? How do you talk to friends and family? What are creative ways for educating your community? And also, it's very new. I think it's just up today, so you can be one of the first people to be part of the discussion corner. I'm going to pass it to Kim for a moment.
Another question we've gotten is, who is checking on companies who have committed to not using toxins or phthalates, et cetera, or RBGH? That's an excellent question. And there are a number of organizations that try to follow issues like that, and we're one of them. But there's no regulatory body that can guarantee that something is that is free of a certain product. It's really, unfortunately, still up to the consumer to check on the ingredients in their different products. So, it's not the best news in the world. So it's important to be an informed consumer. And if you do notice something, and if you have the ability to try to buy products that are free of phthalates, that's a great thing to try to buy something that doesn't have it in it, and to buy, milk and dairy products that are RBGH free. And if that's not available to you, that's something very understandable, and that's why I'm supporting organizations like us and other organizations that work on those issues, like the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics. It's a really great way to try to get that regulatory reform that we're really aiming for.
Thank you, Kim. I think it is really important to remember that really supporting legislative efforts to make reforms to make everyone safer, so that we don't all have to be, we can be conscious consumers, but we don't have to be reading every single label of every single thing. That there is a body that's protecting all of us, and for people who don't have access, can't afford, or aren't conscious consumers yet, that they can be safe as well. I think we're going to end on that question. That was a really great end. There's still a lot of really great questions coming in, and I would like to direct people again to talk at the Think Before You Pink discussion corner talk wheel center. That's both on, you could find it through Facebook, and you can also find it through the Think Before You Pink toolkit. The Think Before You Pink website, and there's a link to that on our website as well. So again, thank you all so much for your thoughtful questions and comments. If we didn't answer any of your questions today, you can follow up with us at info@bcaction.org. And again, if you would like to view the webinar again, or have friends and family or your community who wasn't able to participate on the webinar today, it will be available on our website next week. Thank you so much for attending, and remember to watch your email for a short survey where you can provide feedback on this webinar.